Well, hello. I am Luis Gaviria with the Neuroscience and Coaching Institute. I happen to be the director, and I'm thrilled to have you with me, with us. Uh, we have a wonderful opportunity here because neuroscience sounds like rocket science, doesn't it? But it is not. It's very simple, it's very powerful, and I'm looking forward to share something meaningful with you today. All right, let's get down to it. Okay, why neuroscience in the first place? Number one, we think about that gray matter we talk about uh, since when we're kids, and we think that is so strange and mysterious. Well, it is. It actually is. But the dealing here is to familiarize ourselves with that powerful nervous systems that we carry around and that we barely know anything about. And it's not only that, it's a matter of learning how to tap more into the potential that we all have. Then, to enjoy and be amazed with life itself, because the dealings of the brain, our bodies, what we are inside our hearts, is something so meaningful that I fall short when it comes to words. So let's fix a couple things here before we start. Please do not postpone this opportunity. Even though we are going to make it available for some time as a recording, we will take it offline. We don't like to have our stuff out there. This is for the purpose of, it's an outreach to our communities and all that, and everything has a time. So please take advantage of this. Number two, a friendly reminder. For the purpose of taking the most of this experience, I kindly ask you, please turn off your cell phone. Please close Facebook, email, Twitter. Please ask your family not to interrupt because this is meaningful. And then please pay attention, close attention, and stay until the end. I hope and I promise I'll do the most to have you entertained and informed, and hopefully give you some tips that are going to be worthwhile staying here. We invite you to take notes. It involves our, muscles and stuff, and it creates a more lasting impression in our brains. Anyway, here is Luis Gaviria with Herschel Tumim. Herschel Tumim, he was my professor. This was way back. Can you imagine? That's me. The mustache and stuff. This was back in 1987. He taught me most of what I learned about neuroscience. At the time, it was called psychophysiology. Dr. Herschel Tumim passed away, and it was a very powerful influence in my life. On the right-hand side, he is with Dr. Joe Camilla, a brain expert at the time, and they were both proponents of very powerful, leading edge kind of learning that we take, many people took as granted for a long time, and now it's a very powerful stuff. Okay, here on the upper left, that's my daughter Juliana and myself. We're about to go into surgery. I have been a member of a neurosurgery team for years in Colombia, in South America, and Las Americas Hospital. And down on the right, that's part of our team. And by the way, let's go back to Juliana. Juliana has a major in neuroscience, and that little girl right there, she was born in California when I was going for my PhD, and she's a big part of my life, a big part. On the right-hand side, you can see some images of the brain. That's the brain as it's seen on a PET scan. When someone is very, very depressed, what I want to show you is the brain changes. And it really changes. It's not a matter of emotion. This is not something invisible. You can see a very severe depression in images. The dark sides of the brain, right there, they show that there is a lack of perfusion, meaning that there is not enough blood in those areas. So this is more powerful than we can imagine. Okay, let's get going. Today we will cover number one, basic brain anatomy, three brains, mirror neurons, inner freedom, emotional choices. All right, let's get down to basic brain anatomy. Okay, number one, our brain weighs something in between 1,300 to 1,400 grams. We're talking about 3 pounds. 3 pounds of gray and white matter. And believe it or not, we have over 100,000 million neurons in our nervous system. That's quite a lot. And you might think, who the heck was measuring that? Well, we have neuroanatomists. They take care of that thing, and they count every single thing. In the US, we have the opportunity to have measurements and statistics for almost everything. Now, the cortex, the tissue that covers the whole brain, it accounts for 77% of the whole thing there. And we're going to see how important is that later on. And believe it or not, the oxygen that is consumed by our brain accounts for 20% of our total intake, meaning that if someone weighs, let's say, 145 pounds like me, it should take probably a little bit of the oxygen I take because my brain is only 3 pounds. So it shouldn't be more than 2%, probably. Well, it actually gathers, takes, and steals 20% of the oxygen we breathe every time. Why? Because thinking, functioning, takes a lot of energy. And that is also true for glucose and some other nutrients that we use in our nervous system. All right, we're going to be approaching the Triune Brain. Dr. Paul MacLean, a physician and neuroscientist, he already passed away. He's the one who brought the idea of the Triune Brain. In neuroscience, in mainstream neuroscience, we don't call it that way. There is no much, let's say, connection with this thing, but for the purpose of everyday life, I believe it's very, very useful. Let's start with the reptilian brain. It's the very basic structure that conforms the basis of our brain when it attaches to the nervous, to the spinal cord and all that. And what it does, it controls and monitors our heart rhythm. Every time our heart is beating, well, there is a connection with our reptilian brain. That's the brain stem, the cerebellum, and some other areas there and systems like the pons and such that I'm not going to bring up here because we don't need it. Let's consider this. You have your cell phone. How many gates, how many circuits does it have? It doesn't matter. I don't know how many circuits does it have. I don't even know how much voltage does it work on. I just take it and dial. Well, that's basically what we need here for everyday life. Neuroscience of everyday life relies on basic, powerful principles that we're going to be enjoying today. So anyway, it takes care of breathing, our body temperature, adaptation to different environments. It also takes care of digestion, balance. When we are standing in line in the bank, it takes care of our balance. And equilibrium in many ways. It also takes care of posture. It controls and monitors posture and a big chunk of muscular coordination in conjunction with some other areas. So that is as far as we have to learn about the reptilian brain at this time. Now, it also takes care of instinct, motherly instinct, protection of our own kind. It takes care of this basic reactions to extreme heat, to pain, and of course, it is also always looking for something that might be problematic, something that might cause hurt, something that might be of danger. So it is always taking care of monitoring the environment for this kind of possibilities. It takes care of aggression, the basic aggression. It deals with territoriality, dominance, and it brings ritual displays. All right? So let's move into the mammalian brain. Mammalian brain. All right. Why all those fireworks? Because this is the powerhouse of our system. It has to do with emotion. And that little thing right there looks like a P. Well, I'll tell you. That's the brain amygdala. And the amygdala is a center for emotion, not only for tenderness, but also for violence, for outbursts, for it gets really triggered when we are in an argument, or when we somehow perceive there is a lack of justice, something unjust is going on, and it triggers that, and then we become, we're ready for combat. So it is a very powerful thing right there. But it doesn't work on itself. There is a surrounding tissue around it. It's called also the limbic system. That's where emotion happens. It's the emotional control system in our brain. That's how we experience emotions. That's how the emotional tone is set. And of course, this is our opportunity for emotional management. Just a little anecdote. Back in the days of basic research, researchers used to cut off, or just, a plain incision, cutting the amygdala from its place and just leaving it there. Just cut it from the rest of the tissue surrounding it in little rats. We're talking, guinea pigs and stuff. Those guinea pigs that were mothers at the time, that were, their amygdala was cut off, they didn't care for their offsprings. It was as if they didn't exist. They would move them around in the cage like things. They wouldn't accept to feed them or anything at all, and there was no emotional attachment whatsoever. So that gives us some clues. And at the same time, if someone has a hot brain, if we are working under a lot of pressure, if we are upset, if we are angry, we don't see reality the way we should see it, because we're going to see there is more to this than we can imagine. Now let's go to the neocortex. The neocortex, it's the largest brain structure, as I said before, and this thing here, it's our thinking brain. It's one of the structures that separate us from animals. And to tell you the truth, when you and I plan, when you and I think about the future, That's one of the structures that gets lit up, uh, and most important, it helps in managing consciously our emotions and action. Now, here is the deal. It has to do with discernment. Discernment. What is proper? What is good? Shall I do this or shouldn't I do this? What would be the sequels, the consequences of this action? What can I expect from this situation? What can I expect in the future if I behave in X or Y manner? The thinking brain, a very, very potent structure that allows us to create life. And that's one of the areas that we promote. And in our educational system, we are so enthused about the fact that we need more intelligent people. We need kids that can think and do math and learn all kinds of things. But sometimes we forget that it's somewhere else where we have to learn a bit more, because we can learn to integrate. Listen to this. We can integrate all of our structures and have our reptilian brain, well, it's fairly integrated already. We can walk, we can stand, we have a posture, equilibrium, balance, our heart is working, basic. We handle it by default mostly. But then the real breakthrough is to integrate our mammalian brain, name it the limbic system, emotional system, with our neocortex. Okay, just a little digression here. Girls are more well connected between their uh, frontal lobes into the limbic system. They are more, you girls are more prudent, if I may. You have better judgment in terms of danger, risks. We guys, we love risk. We are not that well connected so soon. You girls mature early on in life, and that's why, well, let's think about it. Ladies, women are more strong when it comes to dealing with stress. There has been a lot of research showing that, for instance, two people, one guy, one lady, go through divorce. Okay, the guy gets severely depressed, life means nothing, he is absent from his job, he can drink a lot, he somehow loses contact with life, and life means nothing anymore. Ladies, instead, they feel depressed. Of course, life loses a lot of meaning. But you know what? They don't go and easily go to drink or get absent from work. No, they go and take care of business, and they are busy with kids in the morning, and they can cry, and they carry clinics all around, and they, they cry and they speak and they talk to their friends. But you girls keep active. Life keeps going with you in charge. Let me take the opportunity to tell you that you girls are so well made. So well made. It's not that we're not well made. It's just that there is so much that you bring to the table and to life. Hats off to you girls. All right? Okay, let's get going. Now, the thing here is, yes, we can manage our emotions, our emotional states, and we can do it ourselves and also induce changes in people around us. Let's stop here for a moment. I'm not saying that you are responsible for other people's emotions. Not totally, but in a big part, yes. And I'm going to explain why. The most powerful thing here is we go through life and we meet people and we share with people and we interact sometimes just by probably a hello, raising our eyebrows or smiling or frowning or just being in silence. Somehow we influence each other. It's impossible not to be influenced by each other. So it's unavoidable. We influence people. People influence you and me. And that influence creates change, difference in attitudes, the way we see life, the way we experience life, the way we interpret some of the things that somehow change our outlook of life. And then we make decisions, and then we make changes. And to tell you the truth, we transform each other. At the Neuroscience and Coaching Institute, and the mother corporation who owns NCI, Gave Enterprise Group Corporation, our mission in life is we don't take for granted that we transform lives. The only thing is we try to transform lives in such a way that we induce happiness, excellence, and not only excellence. Because let me tell you, I had a lot of patients in my life. A lot of patients during 30 years of clinical work. And in my practice, every once in a while, I could have someone in front of me, successful people, successful, honest. They paid their bills. They were true to their wives or husbands. They were, citizens that were the example for their community. But they were not happy. Not happy. So excellence in itself, it just doesn't quite fit the bill. See what I'm saying? But if we want to go beyond excellence, if we want to go into living outstanding lives, then we start to need to move into the inspiration side of life, creating happiness. And that brings fulfillment. How is your life? My life at this time? I'm not going to go very deep into that, but I will certainly offer some hints and tips so that we can enhance our lives. And since we can't avoid transforming each other's lives, let's do it. Let me invite you to do it towards excellence and also of happiness. So many people I saw, so many people I was on their side when they were dying. I used to work for a number of years in this ICU, intensive care unit. And to tell you the truth, I never remember anyone dying saying, I wish I could have had that 500 Mercedes. Ever. No one ever, being successful or unsuccessful, never ever said, I wish I could have been a millionaire. It doesn't mean you and I cannot enjoy the green. Of course we can. I mean, it's a means of interaction and interchange. What I mean is, what if you and I could build meaningful lives? Meaningful lives. in such a way that when you and I wake up in the morning, we're looking forward to something that is going to happen. And you and I are going to make it happen. And make it happen for other people as well. Because, here is the deal. When it comes to living a fulfilling life, we have to transcend the bubble of my own welfare, my own well-being, my wife's well-being, my kids' well-being, my family and friends' well-being, because when we go beyond that bubble, we burst it, and we encompass more people, then we go into the next level of contribution. That means, what can you and I do to transform the lives of not only our own, but others, as many as we could? There was this wonderful human being who lived in Dallas, Zig Ziglar. And to me, Zig Ziglar, it's an example of those people who live meaningful lives, who transform other people's lives. And boy, he really nailed it. He said once, if you want to accomplish your goals, please try to help as many people as you can in accomplishing theirs. You get it? Contribution is the next step. And for you guys who are in the business of making money, I don't blame you. I do it too. But the thing is, what if you and I could go beyond our current state of affairs? If we could go to the next level and we could help as many people as possible to achieve their dreams and live meaningful lives, what would happen? Think about it. Well, that's the thing. You and I have that power. And let's learn about it a little bit. You and I are made for greatness. Listen to this. I'm a believer myself, but there is for both worlds. If you're not a believer, at least believe there is something called quantum physics. All right? And this is a man of science who's speaking. I mean, I didn't read this in one book the other day, and I think Scientific American spoke about the brain, and I'm going to create a webinar. Listen, I see brains on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis. I'm retiring already. That's why I moved into coaching, because I needed something less stressful, something still meaningful, and something I could carry around. I needed to, as I said to my wife a few years back, sweetie, I want to travel, but I want to help people and at the same time have a portable business. And that's why I became a coach, a life coach, an executive coach, and a health coach. That's what I do right now. I still love going to surgery, and every time I go back to Colombia, I go there and I'm invited and I present things and I attend congresses and I show the little secrets I apply when preparing our patients for an awake craniotomy. Sounds creepy, huh? Awake craniotomy, meaning our patients are operated while awake. And we're taking literally tumors, we're resecting tumors from their brains while they're awake. Just imagine the kind of approach that you have to take with a patient who's scared to death. This is not going to be the dentist. It's going to be inside here. Just imagine. And I'm in charge, not of taking the tumor itself out. I'm in charge of preparing the patient to be in the right state of mind, of emotion, to be ready and willing to cooperate. And then we take the person to the surgery room, gets anesthetized, goes into sleep, deep. The operation starts, skin, the different planes, bone, everything. And when we're ready, wake up, take off the anesthetic, and let's talk. And I'm in charge of the neurophysiological monitoring of this person in order for my friend, Dr. Carlos Yepes, to operate on this person and take out little chunks of the tumor without touching very vital structures inside, so we have the least deficit possible. That's my job. Talk to the patient, run tests, run monitoring, sight, speech, sensations, movement, long-term memory, short-term memory, you name it. And after the operation, after surgery, I'm in charge of overseeing the rehab process of this person so that we, at the end, don't have someone who was very successfully operated, but they are in a catatonic state. No way. We were successful, but the person was not successful. We always try and work and fight so we have a functional human being who feels again, gets reattached emotionally to his or her family, and goes back in life with inspiration. I love that, but I'm a little tired. I'm 59 and I love to travel. So my friends know that every once in a while I'll go back to Colombia. I'll go back to the surgery room. But in the meantime, I love what I do. I'm a coach. I'm Coach Luis Gaviria. That's what I do, and that's what we do at the Institute. We train other coaches. Because, see, a little tiny digression again here. What are you going to do in the next 15 years? Is it going to happen by chance? Or is it going to happen by design? We can live most of our lives by design. Meaningful lives, fruitful lives, satisfactory lives, peaceful lives, lots of fun, peace of mind, sharing with the people we love. That's the bottom line of this webinar. How you and I are going to be designing our lives with day-to-day information and tips so that we take the most of this wonderful, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about our brains, their connection with our hearts, with the rest of the system. Stop for a second. Where is your brain? Well, here inside between my ears. Yes, but it is also connected to every single part of your body. Organs, bones, soft tissue, muscles, skin, everything. You want to see your brain? Take a look at your hand. It's right there. Extensions of your brains. Those 100,000 million neurons, they are not only inside of our brains. They are together in bundles creating nerves. And they are all over our body. So our brain somehow is in every single part of our bodies. And our brain remember, and our bodies remember. Let's get going with this. So let me say this again because it's so powerful. Our emotions, our emotional states We can do it ourselves. We can manage ourselves, our emotions, and also induce changes in people around us. How does that sound? All right? Okay, how does it happen? We happen to have mirror neurons. What are mirror neurons? Those are neurons that activate each time a person, I'm sorry, I wrote persona. Every time a person undertakes an action and when a person watches the action. Let's say we're in front of someone and that person has a glass of water or of beer or wine or whatever. When the person reaches to the glass and drinks, something in our brain fires up and invites for the same action. If we have a glass in front of us, chances are that many times we're going to follow the other person's action. And it's neurobiological. It's not consciously done. Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes we say no. Let me give you an example. When a couple of friends are drinking a couple of whiskeys, and one says, let's go for the other one. Another round, please. No, please. It takes a lot of effort and willpower to say, no, I'm done. Thank you. You can have your whiskey, but I'm not having another one. Because your brain is working on a mirror action state. And listen to this. It is as if the person watching was undertaking the action. And how this came about? Very simple. A group of scientists in the University of Parma in Italy were working with chimps. And they had these chimps connected with wires, their brains, to machines that, monitor, the electrical signals and such. They had this chimp on one side, both chimps connected to the very same areas in their brains, all right? And one of the chimps, both are being monitored, one of the chimps is offered an ice cream. Of course, the chimp reaches with its hand, grabs the ice cream, and starts to slurp the ice cream and to enjoy it. Wow! Believe it or not, the other chimp that didn't move a hand, he was just watching its peer, saying, oh boy, he was given a piece of ice cream. I want that. I don't know what was going on in its brain, but I can tell you one thing. The very same regions of the brain that lit up, that showed activity, when the first chimp was reaching for the ice cream and then slurping the ice cream, the very same areas lit in the other chimp's brain. Meaning that just by watching an action, the precursor, the initiation of the action starts in the brain who sees the other person acting. This is way powerful. You see, I remember a close friend of mine, Dr. Beatriz Restrepo, a great educator. She used to say, Louis, the example you set is not the best way to teach. Oh no? It's the only one. The only one way to really teach something to someone is showing them. So, what do you think about this in terms of setting an example? We teach our kids by example because we have mirror neurons. We have a couple pictures here on the screen where it shows this scientist playing with a little monkey, and the scientist sticks his tongue out, and the little monkey eventually sticks its tongue out, creating a reflection of the action. And you can do that with newborns. Unbelievable. And there is here, I don't remember her name, but I just could grab her picture, a wonderful work. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of this lady who did a lot of work with chimps, and when she started to create sounds, the chimps would follow. You can do that with dogs, and just for a second, let's imagine. What do you think about the kind of impact we create when we are frowning? When we are with that stern look in our faces, depressed, angry, sarcastic. We do that in other people. We reflect, we induce, we create states in people around us. Of course, it's up to them either to take it or leave it and go on with their lives. But to start with, we plant feelings in people around us. What if you and I could start planting good feelings? Now let's remember, that's good for business, isn't it? You go to a couple of different restaurants, and in those restaurants you have the same menu, about the same menu, about the same kind of taste. But in one of them, people smile. They call you by first name. Welcome. So happy to have you here again. And all of a sudden, it is comfortable to go to this restaurant. Because see, we can read people. And we know when something, when this smile and this attitude is genuine, authentic. And we also know when someone comes to us with that artificial smile. Good morning, good to have you here. No, it just doesn't work like that. We can read people, and somehow that creates this sense of comfort, and we are happy to grab and dig in our pockets and pay for whatever. My wife and I always say we like to be served properly, happily, good food, and we don't care how much is the whole thing, unless or as far and as long we feel satisfied, happy, well taken care of. Don't you? So these mirror neurons have a lot to do not only with emotional states, but with cash flow. Does that ring a bell? So the other day we were in a meeting, my wife and I worship my wife. Don't take me wrong. I'm a believer, and of course we only worship God. But I'm saying that in a figured way. I love this lady. I mean, she is it. There is no one else in my life. And when I go into a meeting and I see a couple that he moves and she's like behind, like trying to catch up, and he kind of not rejects but doesn't pay attention to that wonderful lady who gave him her years. I feel annoyed, don't you? And then you can say, well, they've been together for 45 years, maybe they are tired. BS. That is when someone has to show real presence and love and appreciation. I don't like to do business with people who are not polite with their loved ones. Listen to this. I learned that from my dad. Many years ago, I was a child. I was in his shop. I was helping. And he said, let's talk about business, my son. Please try to do business with your friends. So before doing business, try to see if that person can be your friend. If not, walk away. You see, when you do business with some people, sort of creates a bond. There is a link. And there is also the opportunity for future business. My son, only work with those people you can call friends. And to start with, my son, to become a good judge of character, just pay attention to the way they treat their children, their wives, their associates, not only the clients. Some people are so good at being artificial and smiling at the client who brings the green, and then frowning at the people that make the business go. The business of family or the business out there. Whew. I don't like when I see people showing me the mirror of disrespect. When I see people putting down their own, I don't like it. I hope you don't like him either. And if until today you've been the kind of person who was not aware of doing that, I kindly ask you, it's not about who you were until today. It's about who you want to become. It's about who you want to be now and in the future. That's what life is all about. So let's get going with this thing. Okay, this is, I love to give credit to the people that came about with meaningful stuff and not just say, this is such and such and let me tell you about this. No, I believe we have to give credit to the people. Okay, the guys at the University of Parma were Giacomo Rizzolatti, Giuseppe Di Pellegrino, Luciano Fadiga, Leonardo Fogasi, Vittorio Gallese, and not only that, there is this gentleman, this doctor in the US, Dr. Marco Iacoboni. He has a most wonderful work on empathy. Listen to this, empathy. All right? So, get going. We have opportunities here. The first one that pops up is to create and maintain the emotional state that you and I want. We are not bound to being depressed or angry or sad or down for hours or days. You know what? Our brains get used to it. In fact, our brains have this thing of whatever we teach them, whatever we teach our brain to do on a daily basis, it learns even if it doesn't like it. Take a cigarette. The first time you smoke a cigarette, if you ever did, I wish you haven't or you hadn't, your body, your system rejects the smoke. You cough, you get dizzy, you're about to throw up. You know what? Because the system is wise and says, I don't want that thing inside. As simple as that. But then you, since the tan, tan, ta, tan, da, 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 it looks glamorous to have a cigarette in your hand. And then pump that smoke and dirt inside of your lungs. Oh. And since in the movies and in many ways it's so in to smoke, we teach our brains that it is good, it is okay, it is positive. We associate the feeling of smoking in a peaceful environment, surrounded by people that validate us, and somewhere inside of our brains, every time we smoke, dun 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 dun. Hey, that's BS again. You and I can create an addiction out of something very negative. But you know what? Depression can become addictive as well. And then we have to learn the other way around. We have to change this, and that's what we're going to do. Number two, we have the opportunity to help other people in doing the same. Okay, let's start. Let's do something, and please bear with me, all right? Okay, move your shoulders around. If you're lying in bed and you have your computer or your iPad or something to watch this webinar, I don't mind, just move around. Just move around. Now, I kindly ask you to stand up. I'm going to stand up myself. I'm going to stand up. I hope this thing is not going to, okay? And just move around and shake your hands. Shake your hands and move around a little bit just to break a pattern here. A pattern of, stillness. And let's do something. Please bear with me. Please follow my lead. We're talking a breakthrough here, all right? Please, I'm going to ask you to pay attention to the feelings associated with something ugly or bad that happened in the last week. Let's just evoke a moment that was not good at all. And think about it and look at your body. Think and remember and feel some of the thing that you felt that was not positive. Stop. Pause. Please notice, how is your breathing? A little bit shallow, right? Shallow breathing. Not enough oxygen intake. Secondly, how are your muscles? Low in tone. And if you were angry, they were over tense, or low in tone, or very tense and stressed, like creating an armor around yourself so you can defend yourself. Our physiology, our body, has a way to respond to emotion. And emotion creates an echo in our body itself. And when we move with our body, we create an echo back into emotion. It's a two-way street. It is impossible to be, and let me ask you this, now shake your hands. Just imagine you have sand in your hands. Sand meaning of bad emotions, bad feelings of last week. Shake them. Forget about it. All right? Now, let me kindly ask you to remember, and for this purpose, please have a straight back. Yeah? Breathe deeply. Raise your forehead and think about a moment in which you have been validated. Validated, yes. What do I mean? Someone say that you're a great person. You haven't been? Let me tell you, you are awesome. Listen to me. You are awesome. Do you imagine how many fights in life you've been through to get to this point? You are awesome. You're a wonderful human being. Now go back to what you've heard from some other people. And just imagine, I'm a wonderful person. I'm talking about you. You are a wonderful person. You're a fighter. You are a warrior. You are an achiever. Most of it all. You're a great human being. Now, let's stack upon that feeling another one. Just remember the last time you were hugged or you hugged someone you really care about and you had a positive response. Just remember probably the smell of the person, the sound of their voice, the touch. And remember, being hugged and loved. Remember, evoke and take a deep breath. And please remember one time in which you felt very successful. Something you either acquired, could be material things, or something where you thought, gee, I could do it. I did it. Probably a project in which you succeeded, or whatever. I mean, whatever. It can be all kinds of success. I remember the time when I purchased my first pair of shoes. Oh man, I used to use the shoes of my brother. His legacy was always big shirts and big shoes, and we didn't have the money for me to have brand new shoes. I was the youngest of 7, and my brother was 18 years older than I was. Just imagine when my mother in her sewing machine would come and fix the shirts. They would come nicely, and the sleeves would start here, but then the pocket was, the shirt was so large that the pocket was down to my belt. And everyone knew that I was using someone else's. It was a wonderful experience for me. Not only to have that sort of prosperity, inheritance, I loved it. I enjoyed. I wish I could have had, as many other kids, brand new clothes, but I valued that, because every shirt that I used, my mother had worked on it. I knew we didn't have the money. So anyway, the shoes, I had to stick cotton towards the tip of the shoe inside so that I could wear them. So can you imagine? The first pair of shoes that I got, I purchased them on credit in a store when I was 15. Oh man, those shoes. I still feel them in my feet. And I feel so proud of that pair of shoes. It doesn't have to be your first airplane. It can be anything. It can be the day that you got that man to pay attention to you. It could be the day that you gave birth. It could be the day that you held your son or your daughter for the first time in your life. Please bring those sensations and those feelings about. Bring them on. And breathe in that sensation. Stick to it. Stick to it. And let go. What sensation do you prefer to have in you? The memories and feelings associated with sadness? It's all in your mind, Luis. Of course! But if it is all in my mind, I get to choose what shall I keep in my mind? Because, see, this is a matter of inner freedom. Learning about neuroscience is learning the steps towards inner freedom. And you and I can be free whenever we choose. Don't get me wrong. You can get mad as many times as you want, and you can stick to that madness and to that anger for days or months or years. It's up to you. Or sadness. I'm just inviting you to live in some different way. If you already do this, congratulations. Please go and teach other people. I can even send you these slides for you to present them in a proper way. All right? I'll be glad to send them to you. But you know what? This can happen here and now. Changes in one's life can happen in a snap, just in a snap. And let me show you. Let's go back to the feeling of sadness or being down or put down or rejected or abandoned. Go back to it. Go back. Let's breathe in and think about the positive things that we want in life, the times we've been loved, the times we held that child, the times we've been hugged, the times we've achieved something and the other thing can slip away. Now let's go back into the positive state. Breathe in that positive state. Breathe in. Do you see? Do you feel? We don't have to be prey of negative emotions anymore because you and I are entitled to free will. Not only free will, free emotion management, free emotional states that you can choose from. And we've seen many people going through very hard times in life, but they focus on what they want to see. Someone collides with another car. And someone says, oh, my car is all broken. Someone says, well, I'm still alive and well. What would you like to focus on in every situation in life? Because it's a matter of focus. Simple, right? Focus. Focus. We have this reticular system in our brains that chooses what we should or must focus on. Let's focus on the positive, on the good things in life. Let's get and provide our people around with a nice state of mind, a state of emotion that we can share and be happy and make life something else. All right? Simple. Remember, the best gift we can give to our people is having a great emotional state, at least most of the time. Just by mirror neurons. When our kids see us happy, they are pulled into happiness. Or at least they could, what's going on? What's going on? Something great is happening because you and I can make a change in someone else's life. All right? All right, I hope that so far you're enjoying this presentation and that somehow this adds a little bit of value to your life. Because for me, it's just a joy to be sharing with you some of the people that are joining this webinar. I know personally, thank you for being here. Some are guests of my guests and some are family, my blessings, my everything to you all at this time. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about compassion and empathy, because these are very powerful words. There is this word in German, I don't know German, but I understand it sounds like Einfühlung. Einfühlung, that means empathy. Empathy, that connection, that inner imitation of other people's actions. But listen, it's not only actions, it has to do also not only from the motor behavior, meaning like when a couple are dancing, they imitate, they mirror each other's movements and swing. And let me tell you, by the way, down the road, we're going to have another webinar and we're going to be talking about the mirroring, which can be used properly in business and also to elicit changes and to induce changes in our children, in our business associates in a proper ethical manner. and that is very powerful. But anyway, motor behavior, but not only that, emotionality. When we feel empathy for other people, that means that we have this tendency, this this push inside. We are pulled into imitating somehow other people's movements or emotion. And that I want to talk about a little bit. Number one, this topic of empathy is so powerful that even Stanford University has the Center for Compassion and Altruism. It's a very powerful and interesting group of scientists that nowadays are talking about empathy and altruism. And let's remember that long time ago, psychology and psychiatry just dealt with the pathological side of the human mind. And then we were so concerned about being depressed, about anger, about psychosis, neurosis, and all those kind of human experiences. But there is been a long time since science started to take a look into those powerful emotions that make lives more meaningful, that bind us together, that create family, that create friendship, that create long-term relationships. And there is also the work of Dr. Martin Seligman about happiness. And this is so powerful, so powerful. One of my favorites is the work that is done at the Center for the Greater Good at University of Berkeley. It's conducted by a group of scientists, wonderful people. One of them, one of my favorites, is Dr. Dacher Keltner, and his presentations on sympathy, on compassion, and how it applies also to healthcare. And we're talking science right now. I mean, these things were a little bit abstract a long time ago. It was a given that some people would compassionate and some others were some more cold or less inclined to feel and understand and to consider other people's pain. Nowadays is different. And for our blessing, I mean, this is so positive because to tell you the truth, I wouldn't be able to be in science if it wasn't for this humanistic side of science. For me, I love science. I love whatever 1 + 1 = 2. Period. That's simple. Dealing with the human mind, dealing with the human nature, it's let's say more volatile and more difficult, but it's also an art. And I invite you kindly from my very heart to take a look into this invisible side of life, of business, of interaction that gives and provides meaning. This is so powerful. Anyway, there is also let me remember, the functional neuroimaging laboratory where at Brigham Women's Hospital, Harvard Medical School, the cognitive, affective, and contemplative neurosciences, and in the functional neuroimaging laboratory. And we are talking huge amounts of research and also interest from top universities in the world, and that is very, very powerful. Anyway, let's get going with this. To tell you the truth, if it wasn't for compassion and empathy, I left that in Spanish, I apologize for that, we couldn't build families. There wouldn't be a way for our offspring to grow up, because let's remember, it's a fact. A horse, a mare gives birth, and in a couple of hours, that colt, that offspring can walk and suck from his mother, and practically in a matter of weeks can take care of itself. But a human being, how long does it take to a human being to take care of himself or herself. If it wasn't for compassion, empathy, we would be empty-handed. Our species would not longer exist. So it's a matter of survival for us as a species, as the humankind we are. We need compassion, we need empathy. And believe me, if we want our business to survive, to thrive in a very difficult economy, we need more than ever. We need compassion, we need empathy, but that kind that comes from our hearts, from really thinking about the well-being of other people, giving until it hurts. The other day I was talking to someone who said, "Hey, Luis, what's the marketing strategy that you guys have at the Neuroscience and Coaching Institute?" I said, "We have no marketing strategy." How come? No, we have a simple way of life, and that is we give away top content. We give away to thousands of people in 28 countries. Videos, webinars. We just reach out and give the best that we can. And then what do you sell? We sell nothing. We have a group of students that want to become professional coaches, make a change in their lives, extend their capacity, their skills, and probably enhance their current profession or whatever, and then make real changes in their lives. But those are who pay. They pay. We never sell. Can you believe that? We never sell. We devote ourselves to giving for free. You didn't have to pay for this. I'm not asking you to come and be a part of our institute. Probably one day, if it comes to be part of your life plan. But to tell you the truth, we are going to give you lots of great information for your life, to enhance your business, to enhance your life. And stop. Okay, now breathe in, bring on the beautiful side of life. Yes, that positive emotion we were talking about some time ago. Yeah, bring it to your soul, to your breathing, to your mind, those moments of tenderness, those moments of success, those moments in which you, make your back straight. Yes, your forehead goes up, and breathe in tenderness, nice feelings, positive feelings. And we're going to learn something else. There is this fact, by the way. Let me put it this way. This has to do with family and all that, but I wanted to share something with you. Now we know that we can change a state of mind from being either angry or sad into a thriving, happy human being. We can do that, no question. Now you know how to do it. Just let go of those feelings of sadness, being down, angry, or whatever. Just let them go. Shake your hands. Shake it off, and then elicit, evoke, bring to your mind and your heart and your body that sensation of being loved, of being valuable, that sensation of being meaningful, that sensation of you are awesome. Bring it on. And I'm going to teach you something else. Just hold it there, because our brain is like a radar. And it's always trying to pick up what's going on around us. It's trying to pick up if something's problematic, if something is an opportunity, if something can be risky, if there is a threat or there is an opportunity. Okay, here is the opportunity. We need to move on and try to do this in a proper way. Sometimes it's not going to be easy. It's like the archer. He has or she has to throw as many arrows as possible until she or he hits the target. It's repetition. We learn through repetition and rhythm. That's why I ask you kindly to do this kind of exercise, to elicit the positive emotions probably every half an hour. I dare you to set your mobile phone the alarm, an alarm, half an hour, every half an hour, I'm going to breathe in power, I'm going to feel strong, I'm going to feel meaningful, and sometimes it won't get there. Don't worry. But some other times you'll get there and you'll hit the target until practice makes perfect. And you're going to have a bull's eye in the way you move your sensations, in the way you move your emotions, and you become unstoppable. Listen to me. You and I have to become, and we can become unstoppable. Why? Because we have what it takes. It does and serves no good at all. It serves no good at all to linger in those thoughts of sadness, of being put down, or bad memories. Forget about it. You and I have inner freedom, inner power, and we conquer that inner power by eliciting, evoking those positive emotions. So again, go ahead. Breathe in, breathe out, power, good times, good company, everything. By all means, don't let this go. By no means let this go, because this is something that you got yourself right now, and it's part of your freedom. Now, I'm going to teach you something else, because this is very important to understand, okay? Okay, here is that powerful principle presented and proposed by Donald Hebb in 1949. Neurons that fire together wire together. Meaning, when we are newborns, we have all the neurons we need at the time. But those neurons are not connected properly. They haven't played together enough to help us crawl or walk. Eventually we can walk. Eventually we will run. Eventually we will become athletes or probably play the violin or play piano or sing. But in the meantime, those neurons are not firing together enough times in order to make them work together as a team. Okay, that's the basic principle of conditioning also. Is the basic principle of when we create something powerful in our lives and we bring it back to our minds and we remember images, we remember sounds, smells, we remember touch, we remember all of our senses, because we have a 3D, a multi-sensorial representation of what happened. All right? Well, what if we could mix a representation of the positive things and then attach to it another thing? Let's say, follow my lead. Let's go back to those feelings of positive emotion. I ask you, please remember anything that is good and bring it, and then savor it and breathe in. Breathe that feeling of being loved, of being validated. Remember, you're an awesome human being. Tell yourself that. I am an awesome human being. If you're a believer, I'm a son of God. I'm a child of God. If that helps you, please go do it. And just imagine, whatever way makes you feel great, powerful, strong, connected, something that elicits greatness in you. And I'm not talking about being greater than anyone. I'm talking about being greater than life, greater than sickness, greater than poverty, than loneliness, than sadness, greater than the challenges that we face every day. So bring that greatness, that tenderness, that feeling of success. Breathe in, and at the same time, We can try clenching our right hand, make a fist, and bring that feeling. At the same time, now the neurons that have to do with clenching your fist and the neurons that elicit and bring those feelings are firing together. We are creating an association, a powerful association. So I want you please to put together those feelings and feel and clench your fist and just imagine that you're feeling that powerful, beautiful sensation of being loved, of being successful. And just imagine that there is a slider that you can use to increase the amplitude, the volume, the power of the feeling. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, love, tenderness, everything, hold it there, and let go. Let go. And now let's go back again. Bring it to your heart, bring it to your mind. Remember the sights, the sounds, the feelings, the touch, the smell, even the taste, if there was any, of a situation in which you have been successful, loved, validated. And breathe in and clench your fist and try to do this during the next 2 to 3 days, every half an hour, at least a few times. And I promise you, you're going to create a wonderful connection. And every time you walk in a difficult situation, you just, in a very discreet way, you clench your fist. The other hand can be relaxed. Breathe in. Remember, you're powerful. You're an awesome human being. You're loved. And you're going to have all the power, the strength, the stamina, and the zest to go and face whatever comes your way. I certainly hope that you have enjoyed this simple webinar, and I really hope that Neuroscience in Everyday Life, this first encounter of ours, this get-together, this webinar is going to serve you. And I promise you, you're going to love it. I mean, this is something that you can share with other people. We're going to have it recorded, and I hope you will join us for motivation and inspiration down the road very soon. We will send you the invitation, and thank you for being there. I didn't have the time to check on the questions. I saw questions popping up and all that, but I was so concentrated, so focused on trying to be here that I didn't pay attention to that. I apologize for that, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much. God bless, and you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye-bye.